Tonight on Newswatch, a major milestone out of the Southeast Ohio for the entire nation.
For the first time ever, an American company is producing HALEU on American soil, providing critical fuel for advanced nuclear reactors.
Plus, more American lives lost in the war in Israel. And in sports, we look at two high school volleyball teams in their final regular season matchup. Newswatch starts right now. Yesterday in Pike County, dozens of federal, state, and local government and industry officials gathered at a high-security industrial complex. Good evening, I'm Silver Barker, and welcome to Newswatch. Officials were in Piketon to celebrate what's being discovered as a milestone achievement, not just for this tiny Southeast Ohio community, but for the entire nation. 16 giant cylinders are now producing enriched uranium that will fuel the next generation of nuclear power plants. Yesterday marks the first launch of a uranium enrichment plant in the United States in nearly 70 years, the last one at this very same site in Piketon. Since then, the U.S. has gone from being the world's largest exporter of enriched uranium to the largest importer. Now, Russia is the only commercial source of HALEU, a form of enriched uranium. This new plant wants to change that equation.
The past few years have reminded us just how critical it is to produce energy in America.
Citrus Energy, the company operating the plant, has big plans.
These buildings can accommodate thousands of additional machines that can produce HALEU to fuel the next generation of advanced reactors, low enriched uranium to sustain the existing fleet of reactors, and the enriched uranium needed to sustain our nuclear deterrent for generations to come.
For now, the uranium fuel produced at the plant will go to the federal government, which is conducting its own test of a new generation of nuclear power plants. The average price of gas across South Central Ohio is 9 cents lower this week at $3.39 per gallon. You can take a look at your screen for average gas prices around our region. According to GasBuddy.com, the average gas price in Athens today is about $3.50 per gallon. The York Township Fire Department in Athens County recently donated several tools to Tri-County Career Center's fire and EMS program. Chief Scott McManus says his department received a Bureau of Workers compensation grant. It brought in close to $45,000 worth of new equipment in York Township, and Tri-County received around $30,000 worth of used equipment. The tools donated were a ram extension kit, cutters, a spreader, two 50-foot hoses, and a multi-tool pump. This November, Athens County voters can expect to see a levy for emergency medical services on the ballot. The levy would provide additional funds for maintaining and operating emergency medical services. And in Washington County, voters are considering renewing a children's service levy. The levy put in place 5 years ago helps the Washington County Department of Job and Family Services pay for care and placement of foster children in the county. The department's Social Services Administrator Alice Stewart says the levy brings in nearly $900,000 each year. Stewart says the levy helps to pay foster parents to take care of foster children as well as other expenses related to foster care. Election Day is less than a month away, and Ohioans are already heading to the polls to vote early. You can vote early by visiting your county's early vote center, or you can request a ballot by mail. Absentee ballot applications must be received by boards of elections by October 31st, and the deadline for absentee ballots is Election Day, November 7th. To check your voter registration, update your information, or register to vote, go to voteohio.gov. And the latest of GOP infighting at the State House. Ohio House Speaker Jason Stephens is facing a lawsuit from three fellow Republican state representatives. Derek Murrins, Ron Ferguson, and Phil Plummer have filed the lawsuit with the Franklin County Common Pleas Court. The lawsuit against Stephens alleges he lacks the authority to manage the Ohio House Republican Campaign Fund and wants to seize Stephens' control of that fund worth more than $1 million. At the beginning of this year, the Republican caucus initially agreed to elect Marin Speaker. Marin got more Republican votes than Stephens and has said he is the leader of the House GOP caucus. Now over to forecaster Emily Dietz with a glimpse at local weather conditions.
Good evening. I hope everyone has had a great week so far. We've had some beautiful weather and some chilly nights, and right now it's about 77 outside, not too much of a breeze. We also have some partly cloudy skies going on. Earlier we had some sunshine. Now we're just seeing a little hint of that cloud coverage. Now overnight last night things got pretty cold. I had some extra blankets when I went to bed. We were dropped down to 44, but throughout the day today we picked up quite nicely, and now we're seeing Lancaster about 76, along with Newark, Zanesville about 73. And part of the reason we're seeing such nice conditions outside is due to the stationary front, which is holding a lot of these clouds up in northern Ohio and keeping things quite clear for us down here in southeast Ohio, allowing a lot of that sunshine to come and warm everything up. But tonight we're expecting another chilly night, overnight low of 46 with mostly clear skies. So if you have any sports games to attend, you're in luck. You're just going to need a jacket and not really looking out for any rain. Be sure to stay tuned for my full forecast. We're going to look at some rain coming this weekend. Back to you, Silver.
Thanks, Emily. Well, speaking of this weekend, the Joe Burrow Stadium at Athens High School is hosting the 48th Annual Invitational Marching Festival. It's the third longest running marching band festival in Ohio. The Athens City School District says high school bands from Southeast and Central Ohio and West Virginia are scheduled to perform. Admission is $7 for adults and $5 for children. The festival is sponsored by the Athens Band Boosters, Kiwanis Club of Downtown Athens, and Chauncey Dover Lions. The proceeds go towards those community organizations. Gates open Saturday at 9 a.m. For those interested in a piece of local history, the Athens Public Library now has an exhibit of photos of Mount Zion Baptist Church, one of the oldest buildings in Athens. The exhibit is a collection of old and new photos of the church that is over 100 years old. The Mount Zion Preservation Society is leading this mission of renovations and looking for new ways the church can be used while keeping its historical value. Professional photographer Ahmed Hamed took some of the present-day photos of Mount Zion and says value is the exact reason why he captured these images.
There's this kind of connection with the building, that this building at least is having architectural value, artistic value. The stained glass is having a very unique beauty.
You can also find in the exhibit a roadmap tracking and listing all of the Black history that took place here in Athens. The exhibition will be on display until October 21st. Coming up after the break, House Republicans scramble to elect a new Speaker of the House. Plus, the U.S. Secretary of State is in Tel Aviv, meeting with Israeli officials.
We're looking for a rainy Saturday ahead. Stay tuned to Newswatch to find out how this will impact you.
On Masterpiece.
Welcome to the British Indian Army.
Welcome to hell, sir.
I have no choice but to fight for my country.
Your enemy now looks like your friend.
How do you know who to trust?
What if I were to recruit you to work for me?
To do what?
To fight, of course.
There will be casualties as a result of the decisions you make.
Come on! World on Fire on Masterpiece.
Sunday at 9 on WOUB.
Remember? First impressions.
This is just the beginning to a change in fortunes.
I'm awake. I feel like I've opened my eyes. The world is changing.
I think we should take it to the next level.
Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it?
I thought that was rather jolly.
So much fun.
You make a good team. And what will you tell the child when they ask where their dad is?
There's a war. I'll tell them you're dead.
Are you ready for it?
If we can find him, we'll get him.
I'm here to make sure justice gets done.
I really love you more than anything.
It's really loud.
Shall we?
Fortune favors the bold.
It feels more like the start of something than the end.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
If something bad were to happen to me, I just need him to keep Morgan safe.
Are you okay?
Yes.
We got the body and a witness.
Him! Go on the target!
Family touches a nerve.
Must have known it'd lead to this. People always return to the scene of the crime.
Annika on Masterpiece Mystery.
Sunday at 10 on WOUB.
It's unclear when the House of Representatives will have a speaker again. Republican nominee Steve Scalise is struggling to get enough support to win a floor vote. The future of the U.S. economy hangs in the balance. Scalise needs 217 votes to become speaker, and some Republicans say they won't support him. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel supporting Israel's defense against Hamas and the ongoing search for hostages. Blinken confirms that at least 27 Americans have now been killed. Efforts to locate hundreds of other civilians held captive by Hamas continues. During his visit, Blinken met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Laura Aguirre has the latest on Blinken's visit, and we must warn you, some details may be disturbing for some viewers.
There is no excuse. There is no justification for these atrocities. This must be a moment for moral clarity.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Tel Aviv Thursday, meeting with Israeli leaders and survivors of Hamas's bloody attacks on thousands of civilians this week.
First priority are our friends and family that are now in Gaza.
More than 100 hostages, Americans among them, are being held by Hamas, their exact whereabouts in Gaza unknown. And with another wave of Israeli airstrikes raining down on Gaza Thursday, fear for their safety worsens.
They use hostages as human shields, and they're very willing to give the hostages up to be sacrificed.
We're doing everything we can to secure the release of the hostages, working closely with our Israeli partners.
Hamas is ISIS, and just as ISIS was crushed, so too will Hamas be crushed.
The Prime Minister's office released more evidence of barbaric acts by Hamas militants, including photographs of burned infants. Images that have other Israeli officials pushing back against concerns that Israel's retaliatory strikes are killing civilians in Hamas-run Gaza.
It was an unprovoked attack, a major massacre against civilians. We have no other choice.
We stand with Israel in its determination to do everything possible to ensure that what happened on Saturday never happens again.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
The New York Police Department's Hate Crimes Unit is investigating apparent anti-Palestinian assaults that may have been inspired by the war between Israel and Hamas. Hours earlier, a man with a Palestinian flag was attacked by a man wearing traditional Jewish garb. According to the NYPD, the attacker took the flag, tore it up, and hit the victim with a pole. Police are still looking for the suspect. Well, it's another beautiful day here in Athens. Emily has more on local conditions.
Right. It has been a beautiful week and an even beautiful day to really wrap up the week. Today we are seeing temperatures about 77 with those partly cloudy skies outside. Previously, we had not a lot of cloud coverage throughout the week, and that's really due to the stationary front that's sitting across central Ohio. So we're seeing a lot of cloud coverage, even some rain with our friends in northern Ohio. But the stationary front, the way it's sitting in Ohio, is acting as sort of a barrier for us, keeping all these clouds up to the north and keeping us with a little remaining high pressure that's keeping the skies clear, allowing for a lot of gorgeous, gorgeous sunshine to warm everything up and make things not really feel like that fall that we were anticipating being this far into October. Now, you may notice some things are really looking nasty out to the west. We've got a low pressure system with a low pressure system with a warm front attached to it and a cold front trailing it, and a lot of rain around that, and that's going to be impacting us this Saturday, and I'll talk about that here in just a minute. As far as tonight goes, we're going to see an overnight low of 46 with, again, those mostly clear skies since we still have that stationary front around, and tomorrow another gorgeous day outside, a high of 75 with a low of 55 with those sunny skies. Not really expecting any cloud coverage, but moving into Saturday, that's when things are going to change. So out to the west, we have that low pressure system that's really spinning up right now with that warm front and cold front attached. And while that's not going to be moving in over the next couple of hours, we're going to be seeing that really just pushing across the U.S., producing some rain as well as some cold weather. So right now we're sitting pretty comfortably in these 60s, 70s, these chilly nights as well. But this cold front back here over to the west is having temperatures in the 40s and in the 50s in the Great Plains. And we'll be seeing something very similar to that push towards Ohio. We might not get as down as 40s during the daytime, but we will be in the 50s, so expect some chillier days ahead. And tomorrow night, we're really going to see this low pressure system advance towards us. That warm front is still there, pulling a lot of warm air up from the south, producing some humid conditions, and that's going to really help a lot of this rain to develop. And as this cold front sort of pushes up against that warm air, it's going to produce some rain right up against that. And Saturday, we're anticipating a rainy day. So Friday night, you shouldn't really be seeing any rain unless you have a super late night game you may be going to. You may see some sprinkles, but Saturday morning, this is going to be starting around midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and just sort of pushing in throughout the day. We just have a pretty big, extensive rain system we're anticipating. We're not anticipating any thunderstorms, though, or strong winds. It's just going to be fairly rainy for us. So we'll have a brief period of warming as this warm front passes, but unfortunately, that's not really going to affect us too much as this cold front's really going to dominate. And you can see that's really stretching pretty far down. So this weekend, we're going to do pretty much a 180 on Saturday. We're looking at 100% chance of showers, high of 69, low of 47. And then Sunday, things are really feeling from that cold front. 40% chance of showers mainly in the morning time and a high of 56. So we are in for a cold, chilly week coming up next week and a rainy Saturday. Back over to you, Silver.
Thank you, Emily. A Montana federal judge is criticizing a contested state law that bans TikTok from all personal devices. The judge, Donald Malloy, says the legislation appears to be driven by paternalistic views of social media users and suggests that lawmakers could have taken other steps to achieve their goals. The sharp criticism of Montana's legislature and attorney general comes as TikTok and content creators on the platform sought a ruling to temporarily block the law. Montana was the first state to authorize a complete ban on TikTok when lawmakers passed a bill in April. The platform has frequently come under fire in recent years that its foreign owners represent a national security threat and that its technology is harmful to young people's mental health. The Post joins us with a look at the Athens Police Department's approach to underage drinking. That story's still ahead. And for the latest from Newswatch, check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube.
My people in the buffalo have a shared history together.
The buffalo was sacred, and they could not imagine existence without the buffalo.
They were put on this earth to help us survive.
To think that our greed and our industrialization would blink this thing out.
This is the buffalo's last chance.
They've survived. We've survived. We both persisted.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
We're often referred to in the history books in the past tense. But here we are in the present, and we're going full force.
Native women are strong and resilient.
My people in the buffalo have a shared history.
She's a warrior.
It's about representing ourselves in the way we see ourselves.
We're scientists, we're engineers, we're doctors. We're doing things to make a difference in this world.
One of the most extraordinary creatures is living in the creek that runs through our city. The platypus. I've been granted this window into their world, but these urban platypus were living right on the edge. The river was looking like a war zone. It was as if the natural world was trying to deliver a message. You have to do something to help the platypus.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
The deadliest attack on Israel in 50 years.
Brutal fighting between Israelis and Palestinians centered on Gaza today.
Amid threats the war and terror could spread further, the death toll mounts.
Israel has hammered the region with airstrikes and artillery.
It's like a nightmare. We run away from the missiles.
Friday at 8:30 on WOUB.
Homecoming at Ohio University drove hundreds of alum into Athens and onto Court Street last weekend. But younger audiences were drawn to the Uptown Fun too. With Halloween on the horizon, one of the Athens Police Department's top priorities is safety, especially with underage drinking. News reporter Kendall Wright from The Post, Ohio University's independent student-run newspaper, spoke with APD about their approach. Thanks for being here, Kendall.
Thank you.
Yeah, so first question, I'm a bit curious, what sparked this story for you?
Yeah, so if you've been uptown on a weekend night, you've probably seen there have been a lot more cops than in the past. And so with this, people are wondering, why are so many cops coming in and out of the bars? Why are they doing so many bar checks, kicking people out? And there's actually a new chief in town, Nick Magruder. So I wanted to find out from the past, working with Pyle, what the differences were between what Pyle's done and then what Nick is going to do.
And saying, finding out what you wanted to do, I mean, why is the Athens Police Department focusing on coming into these bars and focusing on people who are like underage as well?
Yeah, so it's no surprise that there are people at a college campus underage drinking, and so they just want to make sure with the last 2 classes of freshmen being so big, they want to keep a firm stance and make sure that these freshmen aren't going overboard. So they want to make sure they understand that they can't act a fool in bars, they can't go crazy, they can't cause fights, and so they're just monitoring, because when they do go into these bars, people are getting scared and leaving, and that creates more space for the people who are over the age, and then that gets rid of the underage people too.
So you say that sometimes, you know, these underage may be out here, the police doesn't want them acting a fool or anything out in the bars. What happens if they are out acting a fool and they do get caught?
Yeah, so basically, actually, about 95% of fights or assaults or issues that come from these weekend nights uptown are from underage people under 21. And so if the cops see kids who are underage, who might be underage, they like to approach them, either give them a warning or cite them, because then this can reduce the risk of these issues being caused. And also too, if these issues are being caused, the cops just will interact with them and then decide to charge them.
Well, obviously this is such an important issue because Ohio University here, we have so many students, freshmen, sophomores, and then obviously upperclassmen. But again, Halloween weekend, I mean, that attracts such a large crowd from previous what we've seen with more enforcement of COVID. You know, things are changing now. We might be seeing a larger crowd, for instance, with less enforcement and restrictions on COVID.
Right.
What are the plans for moving forward for that?
Yeah, so Athens PD is just going to treat it like any other big weekend. They're going to bring in extra staff from around the Columbus area, other people from in-state, just so they have a lot more on hand. Athens Police Department always works with OUPD, the Sheriff's Office, to make sure the city of Athens is under control. And so with Halloween, there's going to be the big block party, lots of stuff will be going on, and they're just going to monitor as usual, make sure everything's good, and yeah.
All right, well, I mean, hopefully everyone is safe out there and everything goes accordingly. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. If you want to read Kendall's full story, go to the postathens.com and take a look under the news section. Dylan?
Coming up in sports, high school volleyball is getting ready for playoffs. And stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Follow your joy. I'm not a toy. I got heart.
Saturday at 10 on WOUB.
This is for you.
You got grit, I can tell you never gonna quit. Never even for a split second. Counting all your blessings. You got personality like Christmas got his presents, and I like it. Yeah.
I always want to create something that's gonna mean something.
That's fabulous. And I like it. Yeah.
Dare me to do something.
Don't stop, honey, gotta do your thing. I like it. Don't stop, honey, gotta do your thing.
I really want to show the world how beautiful our culture is.
There was more similarities than differences.
It makes us happy. It makes us feel good.
Yeah. So spread those golden wings. We're gonna shine like the stars. Got the
It is part of our unique story, all of us together.
This is our special time.
like it.
Salute!
Honey, gotta do your thing.
We're going intergalactic.
Don't stop, honey.
We're going to make memories.
I like it.
I just said, hey, I want to do what I've been doing in my life and record it.
We were always those creative minds that were just in the moment.
It all finds its way into his music.
Who he is as a person is what allows him to be where he is as a musician.
And I felt like Black radio was the truth.
Friday at 10 on WOUB.
Welcome back to Newswatch. I'm Dylan Westmeyer. Ohio soccer just left Chesapeake after their match against Central Michigan. The Bobcats were able to tie with the Chippewas with a score of 1-1. Ohio conceded in the first half to Megan Schulten, but the Bobcats were able to equalize in the 89th minute by Shea Robertson, who snuck it right past the keeper. With the draw, OU is now 4-6-4 and 2-3-2 in conference play. Make sure to tune into ESPN Plus on Sunday to watch the Bobcats as they travel to Ball State to take on the Cardinals. Moving over to another Bobcat team that's taking on the Chippewas, OU field hockey travels to Mount Pleasant tomorrow. The Bobcats are coming off a rough weekend with losses to both Miami and Wake Forest. This, however, is their opportunity to bounce back into the win column as Central Michigan is sitting at 1-11 overall, having not won a game since August 25th. Ohio stays on the road for a matchup with number 2 ranked Northwestern on Sunday. Tune into the Big Ten Plus for this action. Taking a few steps over to Pruitt Field, from the Pruitt Field to the Convocation Center, Ohio volleyball hosts Bowling Green State University for a 2-game series. The Bobcats are looking to get past a tough 5-set loss with 16-2 with the Western Michigan Broncos, the only 5-set match the Broncos have played this season. BGSU hopes to break a 5-match losing streak, which puts them at 1-5 in MAC play. If OU wants to stay within contact of Akron and Buffalo, who sit at 5-1 in MAC play, they will need to take both of these matchups against the Falcons. The Bobcats tip off at 7 p.m. on Friday and 4 p.m. on Saturday. Moving from Athens to Nelsonville, the Buckeyes are playing their last regular season game tonight. NY will take on the crosstown rival of the Athens Bulldogs. The Buckeyes' strong season has put them in a prime position for playoff run as they're the 3 seed in the Division III Southeast District. The Bulldogs have a much more difficult journey ahead. Athens sits as the 11 seed in the Southeast Division II District and will play New Lexington, on October 16th. To stay up to date with tonight's match, check out Ace Nation for written and video recaps. Driving all the way to DeKalb, Illinois is Ohio football. After the dominant homecoming win, the Bobcats will take on the Huskies of Northern Illinois on Saturday. Ohio hopes to keep their stellar season rolling as their eyes sit on a Miami and Ohio collision on Halloween weekend. NIU is winless at home with a 2-4 overall record and a 1-1 conference record. Coach Tim Albin spoke on slowing down the Huskies' run game.
Continue to be strong and limit the running game. There's no way you're gonna shut these guys down. It's gonna be a huge challenge. The communication piece, hold your gaps, tackle well, and continue to run to the football and gain tackle because he's gonna break some tackles. So our pursuit's got to be spot on.
I know I'm super excited for this game. Silver, what are your thoughts?
I'm wondering, what is it looking forward? Do you think we're going to come back with a win and bring that?
I think we will.
All right, well, Emily is going to go ahead and wrap up our final weather for us here.
Thank you. Tonight is looking like a good night to play some sports outside. We're looking at mostly clear skies, although it will be pretty chilly out. We're looking at our overnight low of 46, so another chilly night. And largely of why we're seeing such clear conditions and chilly nights is because we don't really have a lot of cloud coverage, and that's due to the stationary front that's sort of sitting across Ohio, keeping a lot of the clouds to the north, staying up to the north. But over to the west, we have a big low pressure, warm front, cold front developing. That's going to produce a lot of rain for us this weekend. So tomorrow will be another beautiful day, but Saturday we're looking for a rainy day moving forward, and that'll leave us with a lot of cold weather starting off next week.
Every day is a good day to celebrate the nation's service members, but tomorrow is extra special. It's the U.S. Navy's 248th birthday, observed every year on October 13th. It was on that date in 1775 that the Continental Congress green-lighted the first U.S. naval force. Today, the Navy has more than 340,000 active duty personnel and upwards of 71,000 reservists. And, well, that was awesome. I mean, that's really special. I didn't know about that. So
I didn't know about that either.
Yeah. What are you?
248 years. That's a long time. I mean,
that's amazing. You don't really think about how long it is, and you start thinking about American history and everything too. And it's just kind of, I feel like I know I can't process that many years. I'm like, oh, that wasn't that long ago, but in reality it was, but it also wasn't.
Yeah.
It just, it messes with me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Emily Dietz and Dylan Westmeyer, I'm Silver Barker. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.